Hi everyone, my name is Michael and I'm 63 years of age and I'm currently unemployed and living on universal credit. I've already made a few videos about my circumstances, which I'm not going to recap in any great detail here. But what I want to talk about in this one is sacrifice. The question of sacrifice. Now, my feeling is I've sacrificed enough in my life, and I want to now, from this moment on, I want to start living for myself. I've sacrificed my peace of mind, I've sacrificed my deepest desires, I've sacrificed myself, my own, what truly is me, out of a sense of obligation and duty, the feeling that you have to follow a certain path, you have to achieve certain life milestones. And I've reached the stage now where no, I know I don't want to do that anymore. I've sacrificed enough. We've all sacrificed enough. It's now is the time to start living, and I mean truly living. Now, I don't want to say I want to make it clear that I'm not speaking from a sense that you need to put yourself first totally and be totally selfish and disregard everybody else and disregard your very real responsibilities and obligations. But what you cannot do is you cannot sacrifice your real self, your true self, what you really are, in order to meet these obligations. And if these obligations mean that you have to give up being what you are, you have to sacrifice your own happiness, your own inner peace, your own sense of well-being, well, I think you have a duty to yourself not to make that sacrifice. I think you've got a duty to say to yourself, no, I owe it to myself to live my life as fully and completely as I possibly can. And yes, there are these obligations, and there are circumstances, and there are blockages, there are obstacles on the path to self-realization. And indeed, I believe that the further you advance on the path of self-realization, the greater the obstacles and the greater the blockages you have to overcome. And I think this is the universe testing you. The universe is saying, okay, you want to follow this path. It's testing your resolve. It's testing your will. How much do you really want this? Are you really willing to, are you willing to remain constant? Are you willing to stay the course and to stay on the path? Or are you going to just give up when things become a little bit difficult? It's a test of your resolve. But really, I don't think there's any other way. And I think even embarking on this path is in itself a form of release. Because you know what no longer serves you. You know what, just isn't you. You come to a stage of self-realization that all these things you were doing, all these cycles you were just going round and round in, they weren't really serving you. They weren't bringing you anywhere. Except the only thing I can say is they were bringing you to the point of self-realization when you realized, yeah, this is not for me. And once you stop and once you step back and once you say to yourself, no, I'm not going to sacrifice anymore, I'm going to start living. I'm going to ask, what is my ideal true life? What is the true path I want to follow? And I think even the act of making that statement, of actually embracing that choice, is in itself a form of liberation. And I know some people would feel a sense of guilt. Oh, maybe I'm not, I'm not of a duty to follow my obligations and responsibilities. Yes, you can't let everything go entirely. You can't, be completely irresponsible. But you can say to yourself, well, no, I'm not. There's a lot you can shed. There's a lot of societal expectations. There's a lot of things that society, other people, the media, everything put upon us. These things you can shed. You don't need all this baggage. You've got to fulfill your basic responsibilities. You've got to fulfill your basic obligations, yes. But there's an awful lot of baggage you can let go, and there's an awful lot of sacrifice you can let go. And I know, I'll say, yes, it is scary, because what you're doing is you're stepping out of the known into the complete unknown. You don't know where the path's going to take you. You don't really know. It's a gradual process. It's a process of evolution. It's a process of transformation. And it is scary. But my advice to you is to feel the fear, live the fear. But don't give up. Keep going. And I think once you make that choice, it just unfolds. There is no going back. You've shifted timelines. You've moved out of your old energies, and you're in a completely new energy. And you don't know at this point in time where that energy is going to take you. All you do know is that it's taking you away from the past, away from what was, and towards something brighter, a brighter future. And another thing is, once you start the process, you're able to go back and look back over your life, and you're able to see, well, yeah, I mean, if I'd known this 30 years, 40 years earlier, how different my life would have been. And there's a lot of people on YouTube with posting videos saying, I'll tell you what it took me 30 years to learn in 10 minutes. Well, yeah, I can identify that it's taken me 30 years to learn these things. But the fact is, and one thing they don't really stress enough, I think, is the fact is you've learned them. Okay, it may have taken you 30 years, it may have taken you 40 years, but at least you've got there. At least you've learned. At least you've reached the stage of enlightenment, in a sense. At least, your eyes have been opened. You've been able to realize, yeah, what I'm doing, the path I'm following. You're able to realize that and break the old patterns. And I don't know, I sometimes think, if somebody had told me 30 years ago, listen, I'm going to save you, I'll tell you in 10 minutes what to avoid, all the pitfalls, I don't think I would have listened to them. I don't think I would have believed them. I think I would have still gone on and still followed the same path, the same pattern. And I don't think, they stress enough that often we have to learn by experience. Now, maybe there are people out there who can do that. We have to learn through sacrifice. So, in a sense, the sacrifice is important, but it has to come to an end. You can't go on sacrificing indefinitely. Now is the time to stop and to look back and internalize the lessons you've learned from all the sacrifice, all the sacrifices you've made, all the paths you've taken, not out of any sense of conviction, out of a sense of duty or a misguided sense of social responsibility. Now, my thing about the whole social responsibility thing is, look, only I can live my life. Nobody else can live my life for me. Society can't live my life for me. I'm the only person who can live my life. And I know what I've learned what I've learned. And at the end of the day, I'm going to trust my own judgment and intuition over what society puts on me, or what society or people tell me I should or should not be doing. Nobody else is me. I'm the only person who can live my life. And I've realized that, I'm not prepared to make any more sacrifice. I'm not prepared to sacrifice any more of my life. I've reached the point when I've said no. And I think that was the whole point of the exercise. The universe was leading me to this point where I finally woke up and finally said no. I'm going to start living my life. Yes, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be things, but I'm going to start living my life. That much I do know. I'm not going to sacrifice any more time and energy and mental health, if you like, doing things that really do not serve me, do not light me up inside, are just simply out of a misplaced sense of duty, a misplaced sense of obligation. I'm going to follow this new path wherever it takes me. And I believe it's taking me somewhere good. And it's certainly a release. It's certainly, I feel a great sense of relief and release. Having released all the old patterns, having released the sacrifices of the past. It's time to start living. And it's never too late to do so. And that time starts today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share, like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.